Maybe we can start by sharing some of the your first experience when you got this calling, to work with Aryamani and invitation for the play. How was it at that time? How were you at that time? Do you remember when was that first calling?
I mean, I knew the story, which was a funny story because I think what's his name, Kalyani. I was a friend of Kalyani. I was learning Ayurvedic massage with Kalyani, the friend of Aryamani, and I think one day she came to Kalyani and asking like, I need a young man for my play, and Kalyani was like, no, but I know a perfect young man who can really fit your role. And it's long hair and all. She said, "Hi." But she said, but don't worry, I think I found someone. I need to just manage to catch him. And I don't know his name. I don't know where he's staying. And I just saw him at PTDC. And then it was me. And she was speaking about me and Kalyani also. And then it's really funny because at the end it was like, no, but that's him. And then like, what was funny that they both really thought about me, and I was really new in Auroville. I just had come. I was a volunteer. It was my second year in Auroville, I guess, and I don't know. At some point, she came to me. We finally met with Alemani, and she asked me like, "Would you like to do to the play?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, sure." I mean, like, I'm open to new experiences, but like, as an extra, no, like a small role. And she said, no, main role. And I was like, how long is the play? Oh, I don't know, 3 hours. I said, and I got so scared. It was really funny because I had one experience in theater. I was 6 years old, I think, and I was petrified, and in general, I was really petrified with public speaking, and it's something I was working on quite hard in my education, but I never went through it, and I told Aryamadi, I said, I don't have any experience and I'm not sure I can do a fit. And she said, no, that's exactly why you should do it. And you might even just not go into this actor or acting thingy. You'll be more authentic. And this is how we started. And it was, wow, it was a year and a half even before the play happened. And wow, lots of preparation. And I think the first time we read together the play, so it was Rodogun, written by Sri Aurobindo. I don't think I understood a thing. So I freaked even more out. I was like, oh, how am I going to do this? It was incredible, but she caught me also in a moment in my life where I was really, I was thirsty for new experiences, and I was changing totally my life. I had come to India as a tax lawyer, a business lawyer, a chartered accountant, and an HR manager. And I was not doing any of this. I was really exploring myself. I was trying to find myself, and I was having longer hair, and it was a really. I think, I don't know. I'm so grateful. It came in a really, really important time in my life where I was searching for myself, and I think I'd be always really grateful for this experience. It changed my life. It changed really the way I am, the way. There's so many ways. I don't know. You probably more information would come with your question, I guess.
Sure.
But
no, this is beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you remember during the plays any moments? Maybe what are the most challenging moment for you? I mean, during that time, during the preparation.
My English was terrible. I mean, like I improved tremendously my English, my accent also, and so now I got a bit more of a French accent again. But with this play, I was working a lot with Pala, and she was helping me. And I had this problem. I remember, especially when you have to shout or you have to really say something really loud. Usually the accent comes really strong out, and I was supposed to say I want to live, and I kept saying I want to leave, and everybody knows that Michael is wrong. And really, it's so hard to really to pay so much attention to my to really like the diction, and in the same time my posture and all these elements. They were really, really hard. But one of the things I think I learned is one of the a really, really important element I take back from this experience. One of those, it was I was really an excited child. I was really and spreading energy, like just really not being focused. And Aryamani really taught me that to really be in the body, and it was hard. I think Aryamani worked quite hard with me to tame me in a certain. I feel it was like I was a wild animal, and she kept trying to tame me down. And I remember it was like I was there, I was running, I was shouting, and I was no, you can be stronger, more powerful by remaining more calm. Just stay here, say it, of course, loud enough that people can hear it, but be more grounded and really take it from inside out. Wow, that was amazing, and now I use that a lot. I do I do quite a lot of public talks and conference and presentations, and I realized that I used to always move, and now no, I'm like, huh, and it's like, this is really one of the biggest challenge I had, and at the same time the biggest learning I had is to really to convey something with power without shouting, without making too much of it. Yeah.
Lovely. Beautiful. You already answered. I was going to ask you about what was that during the preparation, and also like the insights. Maybe taking it forward, if you could share some of the learnings. I mean, you shared about the voice and the presence. I mean, like a lot of actors, they speak about how it's different from the traditional theater.
Yeah.
It's just not a
Absolutely.
performance, but because it's a journey.
Yeah.
And it's the entire.
There's something beautiful. I remember that, but it was really how do you call that? A lot of stress. It was literally the day before the performance. I think it was our last rehearsal, and Ariamani took me and Thomas. Thomas was playing Antiochus, and I was playing Timocles. And she said she sat us down, and it's really funny because I don't know. I think it was funny. She was really asking both of us. She was saying, Michael, be more Timocles and less Michael. And same to Thomas, be less Thomas and be more Antiochus. And to really live, we have come with our personality and all, and I think everybody got really affected by this play. We probably engaged way more than what we were supposed to. And I know we have all really been affected in different ways. Like some of the evil characters felt really, like it really affected negatively their life, and then others. We came out, it took really a long time for the play to kind of leave us behind. But what was I finding really interesting in the action of acting is to detach yourself, your ego, your own personality, and to really go for this artificial, this imaginative character, and to really to become this character and to leave our own personality behind. That was really incredible, and that is really something where, again, it's a bit the same when I do presentation. I know presentation. I'm a figure. I'm representing a representative. I'm representing something, and I know how to embody this, and then to come back to my own and to really differentiate them. And I learned that really a lot through the plays. One thing that I can. It's really hard to find words to describe it, but I had all these moments when I was reading and learning the sentences, the script, is to I had this moment where it's sort of a flash of like seeing Sri Aurobindo sitting and writing those, and I felt really honored to be chosen to speak them out, to speak his, and really imagining that he spent hours and to speak it out, to really share what Sri Aurobindo wrote. So it's nothing like reading Sri Aurobindo. There we have really like, wow, we're sharing and we're speaking up the lyrics and the script of Sri Aurobindo. And for me, it was I don't know. I always had goosebumps. I can't describe how it felt like, but it felt really connecting myself to him, and I found it beautiful to think he wrote that so many years back, and he had put all his energy, all his consciousness in it, and he really wanted to convey a really strong message. And I'm part of the message. I'm a messenger of it. It's amazing.
It's been 10 years, maybe more than 10 years now, right? I think. Because
It's been 10 years, I think so.
Yeah.
10 years, yes.
10 years.
Yeah.
So, continuing with Sri Aurobindo, and how does it feel now? I mean, when you look back, because in 10 years, I'm sure you got a chance to feel the spirit or the energy of Sri Aurobindo and the mother here, as your time over here. And so, is there anything from the play till how would you relate? I mean, I would love to hear a little bit more about Sri Aurobindo's, or any insights, or any just the fragrance, which is still you remember, or it just brought you closer. How it brought you closer to Sri Aurobindo, or the humanity, or together with the spirit of your being here right now.
It's interesting. I don't think I've think about that this way till now, but I realize now that in that time, and for this play, but then we had the other play, the Viziers of Pasora. It's so funny that days and nights where I was with Sri Aurobindo and Sri Aurobindo was with me, and like, you know, because I had the script, I was there, I was reading it, I was memorizing it, but also just in general is to feel with everyone. It's feeling like a family, like you know, we were really, and we are there for Sri Aurobindo and with Sri Aurobindo. And I think I realize it now that I've not been so much involved after that, and I realized that there's a lot of Auroville not living this, living on the side of Sri Aurobindo, but not living Sri Aurobindo. And yeah, I realize I miss it. I miss this. No matter how we relate to it, we could be writing books about Sri Aurobindo, we can be reading Sri Aurobindo, we can speak about him, or we can basically act for him. But when we go to the routine of Auroville, your job, your this, your that, I realize that no, yeah, I'm not so close to Sri Aurobindo anymore. But that time was really special, and not because I was just doing it by myself and for myself. We were doing it as a group, and we were really there all together honoring Sri Aurobindo. And I mean, all this comes from his spirit, and that was really beautiful. And I realized, yeah, I got disconnected from that, but I tried to focus that I was connected to it, especially at my beginning coming to Auroville, and yeah, I don't know, it's not really a clear answer, but I must say that I think Auroville is missing that. And I think that we should just, I don't know how it is in schools, but yeah, I think it's important, and I think it in a really playful way. I felt it was really beautiful. We were together, we were having, you know, we're working, but we're having fun. It's beautiful to do it this way. I feel like it's really, really interesting to relate to his work in this manner, and not too serious, not too lightly. But I feel, yeah, really, Alemani was onto something, and always getting the young people who arrived and are fresh and they're interested in this. And I think maybe we should do more of an effort in order to relate again back to Sri Aurobindo and the mother in a maybe this playful way, because I think we are losing it. We're losing that. Yeah.
That was beautiful. Yeah, I think one more, and then I invite Aryamani.
Anandmayi, who is just there. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Um, Now, just curious, this is coming more personal, Mikhail, because I also have a 3-year-old daughter, 3.5, and it's just so nice, so heartwarming to really listen to you and to listen to your experiences and in such beautiful, honest, and in authentic way. Um, Maybe let's imagine years from now, you know, when your daughter probably would be grown up a little bit, and you're telling her about, because as you kept saying, this is one of the most important and life-changing experience for you. Just the experience, the overall. If you had to tell her, you know, this is what happened, how would you share about that to her, or maybe to any child, you know, in this experience, in a more, you know, simpler, you know, like.
As you're asking a question about my child, I realized, like, of course I would love her to experience it, but I mean, it's going to be her choice. But yeah, it's like, it's such a combination of, for me, so many things. Is how to bring yourself in the front, at the service of something, not of yourself, to be vulnerable in front of so many people, and to really serve something. I mean, yeah, it's really subtle. It's like, you know, it's so ephemeral, and I'm fascinated by ephemeral events. Or I'm not such a person, I'm more of a builder. I like to have things, you know, to see them for long. There we work 1.5 years for 3 evenings, and it's gone. And it's like, and to have this attachment to what we need to do now, and then we leave it back. And I think it's just a lesson. It's a life lesson, and to really learn about detachment, to learn about passion, to learn about devotion, and yeah, fear. I mean, for me, it was fear. I mean, I was really scared to come in front of such a big audience, and you know, it's not like cinema where, you know, you made a mistake, up or cut, and we redo it again. No, here it's theater, so it's like you're there and you can't mess up. You can't really, and I think it's amazing. It's really amazing, and it's an amazing experience that shows you how much we are capable of doing, and how much can we change ourselves, because there we're incarnating a character, and it's really beautiful to start realizing what you can create for yourself, what you can create as a mask, but to be way more aware of that. I think it's one of the biggest learning, I would say, and for my daughter would be really important, that we're all wearing masks, but we most of the time don't even know it. And I feel the experience of theater teaches you that you're actually wearing a mask at all time, but be aware of it, be conscious of it, and then play with it. But at least you need to be conscious of it. And I think with theater, it really it embodies this, and it's a tremendous work for the ego, for everything, for the self-development. We all encourage anybody to do that, including my daughter especially.
I think she'll be so happy to hear this. I think.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. So just like first I was talking to Michael, maybe you could just share just a little bit just to get started about the first time when you got in touch with playing Sri Aurobindo's play. And I think we're doing much before, as you said. Or
my parents were both involved in theatre, are still involved in theatre, so I've been part of the scene since very young. But in school, when I was in law school, that's the first time we read Sri Aurobindo. I remember reading Perseus. I remember reading The Viziers of Basra and just laughing my head off with that drunk fellow. So that's how I first came in touch with Sri Aurobindo's plays. Was in school. We read them in class.
And the first time when you really played with Aryamani?
That was Perseus. Perseus was the first one. So a long time ago, and it was a big 9-month-long endeavor, and it was a long play, more than 2 hours, I think. 3.5. So see, there you go. And we had an intermission. It was the first time in years that Auroville audience had been subjected to such a long play. We weren't even sure that people would last the whole play, but they did, and it was a challenge to hold the energy and stay in character for all that time. But that was the first experience, and was hooked.
It's been so many years. When you look back, what are the few things which you remember, or any insights which has stayed with you? I mean,
I think each play had some experience or some event, something that happened which stays in your mind. Some particular moments or people or interactions. I mean, chemistry with actors. These things stay. Each play was different.
Talking about working with actors, I mean, we have two rock stars, like the superstars aspect. Everybody says you are two of our most beautiful actors, and
so Anandmayi, she have had leading roles in all these plays.
Yes.
In Perseus and Eric, the Auroville and the Viziers. She was the heroine. She was
So how is it? I mean, since you're both here, maybe working together and also working with others, because Michael was sharing that most of them, didn't come from the theatre background. It was just really cultivating, learning, and with you already been having some experience, and but also just as an overall, how was that? How was it? When they're preparing for it together,
I don't know. It's intense, long, challenging, but also just great friendships, almost lifelong friendships that are established and developed over the course of putting a play together.
Indeed, somehow is one of the, I guess, the biggest issue of Aryamani was to get people to come to rehearse. Not that we didn't want to, but because she wanted quality people. She could have taken people who don't do anything during the day, so they have plenty of time, but she was not interested in these people. She wanted passionate people, and passionate people were all over the place. Getting the time was hardcore, but what I also loved, I mean, I don't know much the world of theater, but to be there and and even like Aryamani to take responsibility for saying, I don't know how this is going to look like, I don't know how you have to act. Try, and we all tried, and it was not like do it like this, or it was suggesting, can you try like this? Oh no, let's try it like this. I love that we And we actors, it was like Anandmayi, we said, Michael, just maybe try to move like this, or maybe try to touch me like this, or this, and it was really nice because you're also co-creating it, and I found that, I don't know, it's a world that I didn't know, and I found it beautiful because I think it was Picasso said something like, if you know already what you're going to paint, there's no point painting it. So it comes, as it goes, and I could see Ariamani and all of us were like really sometimes even wondering, we were like, how are we going to do this? And we just pitched in everybody, and not just the actors in the scene, and they have everybody, it's really a family, everybody's trying to help. I had times with Otto going to his house, and we would take more time beside the rehearsals to, okay, with Otto we read the lines, and it was beautiful, it was amazing.
And Norman also.
Norman, oh my God,
Norman was a great help.
Norman.
He was a great support.
Norman was incredible.
But yeah, everybody had we were all open to whatever people had to say and suggestions, and yeah.
Like today, nowadays, when I study a lot this sort of new types of management and blah blah, and you have all these terms that I used before, co-creation, and then it's not, you don't have to use, it's concept that we don't even use because it happens naturally. And I think we really need to learn from that in many different ways. We work in the offices, in wherever, and that we all come together, we care, we have a beautiful intention, we're going to make it together. Everybody is important. We can't miss one person, and nobody knows. We have to all come together to make it happen. And I really think that this is the way of working in general, and I think it was really inspiring for me. Yeah. We're missing that a bit.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Coming back to you, Anandmayi, what was the challenging, especially working together, and let's say not working together, but like really challenging in terms of playing Sri Aurobindo, because it's something else. So how how was it different from any other plays or any other script? Let's say, for example.
Well, it is also the way it's written. It's not it's not today's English. It is in a certain meter, and the language it uses is a bit dated. So somehow to make that relevant and applicable in today, and putting the right kind of intonation and expression and humor, or so like adapting it so that today's audience could relate to it and appreciate, because there's some wonderful, beautiful lines. There's great humor that has to come across, and so that people discover that Sri Aurobindo he had excellent humor, and he had great sense of drama and tragedy and love stories. Everything was, that had to come across and make people aware that he wrote this and he was able to do this, and we wanted to share.
Would you be able to say that were there certain insights maybe about Sri Aurobindo, maybe a connection with Sri Aurobindo maybe developed, because it's a long time you prepared for the play, so how is that connection developing for you personally?
I don't read Sri Aurobindo really at home, or I don't take the time. I've always done it in the context of a school and class in law school, like once or twice a week. And we still do now. It's been 20 years I go to law school, because once a week we get together and we read either Mother or Sri Aurobindo, and that helps me keep that contact. Yeah. The plays, I love the plays, but of course my favorite is Savitri. Those lines are something else. It's mantric poetry, and the experience is completely different.
What was different for you?
I just saying those lines, learning those lines, and somehow imbibing them and embodying them over months, and reciting them. They're meant to be recited out loud. So that's a whole other level.
Yeah, this is something that Michael, he did go through that. So he abandoned us at a certain moment. The moment and this you can say something, because at a certain moment we shift from the Bharat Nivas, which was the last one that was a visit of Basora, that was this huge play with 50 people on the stage, so it was a big production. And then after that, we came to the Matmandi. And it was a big shift, We left this space that we love so much, Bharat Nivas, this big stage with all the conditions, all the technical support. And we came to Matmandi, to the fountain. And we started working on Savitri. So this was the first one that we did, was scenes from Sri Aurobindo's Savitri. And it was a story the history of Savitri. Someone was telling the story, and we have the scenes happening around the fountain. And so Anandamayi was Savitri. And I think it was a beautiful experience, no? So I think she can say something from this shifting, no? From the play that were all these emotions and all this to come to Savitri, very much, I mean, concentrated and.
I think I wanted to share something before going, but indeed, I think Savitri was not meant, can be, but it was not meant for theater. And it's more work from your side and for really making people and scene embody the message of Savitri. But when people say that Sri Aurobindo was not a theater writer, yeah, that's true, but I'm amazed to see from somebody who is not into theater writing like Shakespeare, no? The plays were incredible. I mean, when you see the complexity, the depth of characters, he did, it was incredible. He's a genius. I mean, like to see that he just popped up from his creativity and he was not a professional in this domain. He didn't want to specialize and still he did it. And there's this scene where I'm a young fool, I'm like full of energy, but I'm full of love and passion for Anandmayi.
Anissa Jalis.
Yes. And I come, I run, I'm almost on my knees and I'm saying like, I cannot help it if thou have made me love thee. And you know, this sentence I learned because it was really hard. I don't know this sort of, and I still have it. It's been 10 years.
Is it Vodacune or?
It's Vodacune. No, that was for Vodacune.
Yeah,
when you were Vodacune,
yeah.
I come and I try to cross with my brother who you're in love with, but I'm explaining, I cannot help it if thou have made me love thee. And you know, like having men like begging a woman to love him and saying like, I can't help it. And this sentence, oh my God. I mean, literally at 10 years, I still remember the sentence.
Can you say that sentence once again? Okay.
I cannot help it if thou have made me love thee. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how long you did all melt for you. This declaration.
And for me, I'm not this kind of person who does it to women in general in my life. So I really had to, act it. And being jealous is the same problem. I had so much emotion that that's not natural for me that as a performer you have to express. And for me, it was to say that to somebody I would have never imagined doing that in my life, and I did it there.
On stage in front of hundreds of people.
Incredible. Wow. And really, this sentence is amazing. Yeah. So I leave you to this. Thank you so much. Yes. See you soon.
Nice to catch up.
Yes. Hola.
Maybe how it was for you, for example, to go through all these plays, one after the other. No, that kind of progression, no?
Yes.
Like Perseus and
Eric
and the Auroville Viziers. So it's like kind of progression. And how it was it for you to change this character, to explore each one?
I don't remember. I every time it was a huge engagement and a huge commitment and such a deep process to get into each character and discovering the character and then the duration of the rehearsals and the performances. So definitely a very profound work every time. That somehow, well, enough that one was over and you're ready to start the next play. So I mean, with sometimes not much, a few months gap in between only before we ended one and started work on the next. Challenging definitely, but also inspiring that we were all ready to be involved in the next one. So
So how many plays Anandmayi participating? Maybe more than 4 or 5, right?
I mean, the 4 from Ayamani, then 2 of the Savitri related ones, right? Yeah. And then other plays in Auroville. I mean, other.
Because you have participated
in Nachiketa. I did a bit the chorus. Yeah, Nachiketas. Yeah.
And
so especially for these ones, what really inspired you to keep showing up? Because it's just not like it would take like so much.
Well, yeah, it's Sri Aurobindo. That's what kept me coming back. Working with his words, his lines, and the group. that's also it's always an interesting process to go through, and you especially often new people who have no experience in theater, and some people the same people you work with also over several productions, so that's always also an interesting evolution. So yeah.
Can you say like you have changed as a person, by participating or by in these lines and by studying them, or
Of course it changes who you are, impacts who you are at the moment, and afterwards, of course. Also, somehow I believe the lines, the vibrations, and the qualities that they evoke stay with you for a long time. I don't remember, like, a play is over within weeks. I've forgotten all my lines. It's like then so that I have space in my brain for the next one. But but on the other hand, they're still there. And when I do read the plays, or in Savitri, because I in school we read Savitri from start to finish a few times. I was like, oh yes, I remember those lines. So they sound really familiar, so they resonate still. So it's still there somewhere inside.
But I came back to that question of how it was for you, this shifting from the plays with all this emotion and all that, to Savitri and Matmande. This setup completely different.
Yeah.
And even technically, it was more challenging because it was open space and all that.
Yeah, it's not a particularly actually theater venue. So
and in fact, with this scene, Sri Aurobindo Savitri, that was the first one, 2015. We inaugurated the fountain with the platform on the fountain. It was the first time that you used this platform and the fountain as a stage, which was for this for this moment. You cannot call a performance for this offering, whatever you call. It was this moment. And Anandmayi was Savitri, and it was very powerful. So it was very And yours was a dialogue with death. So we have this dialogue with death that was very, very challenging. And I think she was extremely present. And you see, Anandmayi, she is an actress. And she's an actress. And when you see the actor and actress, they have this call to perform. Because there's something that is so very me, and I think they grow with that. It's part of the way of living, the way of participating, the way to offer something to Auroville, in Auroville. And Anandmayi, she has this quality, she's an actress. And so she's very committed, and that's why for me it's important to her to share with us how it is her experience with for example, this first one, Savitri, it was Savitri and Satyavan. And she went through that, and it was big implication because it's very demanding, I believe. If you can say something, I collect a little bit with experience.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing was, the others were dramatic plays, and in the kind of classical style. And Savitri is not a play. It's poetry. It's an epic poem, and the challenge, of course, was the venue. It was outdoors and very different setting and very more simple. There was not all these decors and everything that we can sometimes hide behind a little bit. It was very stark, which made the work the lines we had to say, and the presence we had to create very important. How to say, the lines, I mean, Savitri, nothing compares. And it's such a powerful experience of reading them, learning them by heart, and then saying them out loud. It's such a powerful experience. And
is there any favorite lines? Do you remember? Something?
No, not like this, like not off the top of my head.
Yeah, sure.
But and I can't imagine the work, because we had to, she had to select passages. I don't know how she managed to do that, because you want to include everything, every line, every passage is so beautiful and important. I don't know how Aryamani managed to make the selection she did, but the first one especially, I think, was very, very special. yeah, when I mean, as I look at the whatever, I look at photos and lots of memories and things come back looking at them.
If you had to go back and say this is something I could have done differently, or could have done given something more to it, because there's something, you know, because there's so much time and energy spent over the years. You know, could he have done something more different?
We can always have more rehearsals. We can always have more rehearsals and do even more and get and even know your lines even better, and interacting with your fellow actors even more, and establishing working on your character more. You can always do with more time to make things better. That for any play, I think we can always have more time.
Yeah, because in fact in Auroville you are a small, very small, limited place, no, in terms of public audience. So you are, how to say, you are bound to make it 2-3 days. The most that you have done was Eric, that you did 4 times, but you have to prepare a special setup to have less public and have it for 4 days. Because what you are, for example, what she said about preparing can be also achieved through performing. So if you have to perform in a big city, you perform so many times. So in each performance can be different. Can be
Absolutely.
You can explore. You can have different audiences.
Your interactions,
You have really the whole difference of between this big city where you have this going on, and here in Auroville that you do 2-3 times in 10 days.
Yeah, you work for 6 months or a year, and you have 2 shows, and then it's done. It's like
what Michael was speaking about.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference, no? For the actor, for the work, it makes a big difference. But it is not like it is. We make it as an offering for Auroville, for For example, for you, you have been the leading role in all these plays, and also in Savitri. But on the last, in Nachiketas, you were part of the chorus. So how was the difference for you? You were no more the main person, but you were part of the group. You have to adjust your voice. You have to listen to be in a chorus. No?
Yeah. No, it's definitely different work. You are working in very closely with others. We have to talk at the same time, more or less in the same tone and pitch. So definitely a different kind of work. I didn't mind also because, I mean, time-wise, I was not in a place where I could commit to more. So also, just out of respect for you and for the others, I knew I couldn't give more than that. And doing the courses also, it was a different experience. And I think, I mean, it only can enrich me doing different things, not always being the leading lady. So I wouldn't mind playing a villain also once in a while.
Did you do Anandmayi anything while the preparation? Because it's just, she keeps talking about you, how such a wonderful actor you are, and you were, you know, in the plays. But for yourself as a personal practice, what were some of the things? How were you preparing for these plays over the time? I mean, there's one thing is to show up and learning the lines and in terms of the tools, but the other things is just like in terms of cultivating a presence, which is one of the most requirement, especially for Sri Aurobindo. Were there anything?
I don't know particularly, but just over the years working with different directors and learning from them also they always bring things out of you, the best of you, or more out of you than you thought you had. So all contributed. Each production, each director I worked with brought out more and gave me more tools to use for each character I had to play, and their whole history and how they came to be, how they were in that play at that moment. And just getting into it, the lines, just imbibing, and you can prepare also, have all these tools, but in the end it's just somehow just the lines, in the end they become part of who you are. And
some things which you specifically learned from Auroville, or which you can...
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, how to say, it was challenging for me also, like her way of directing also, not always very clear on direction where we're going, and so sometimes it's like, I want to know, okay, please give me clear directions, but that's not always how she works. So that's always a challenge, but it was also part of the beauty of the experience of saying, okay, you know what, Aryamani knows what she's doing. I'm sure she has a vision, and we just have to trust her. So, but that's like my thing of needing to be organized, having some clarity and on where we're going.
You know, Anandmayi is also a singer. She also sings. And
just a bit.
They love to play. She sang.
Oh, yeah, and the viziers.
Most beautiful scenes, she has to sing. And I think this also adds to the character and this kind of whole, the wholeness of the character that she embodies. And the scene was very nice and very, how to say, laughable. Very colorful, extremely colorful. This garden, this flower, and it was with Michael.
Yeah.
And it was a very nice scene that she singing, on the stage as part of the character that she was embodying.
Yeah, that was.
So, what memories you have that you kind of keeps more close to you from all these plays, all these characters that you have done?
Let's see. We'll start with Perseus. That was the first one. I don't know how to say it. It was difficult. She was really dramatic. There was a lot of crying and everything. But then there were moments when she had to be really, something strong came over Andromeda. And so I think that, that was Andromeda. That was the first one. It was epic. I mean, like, she said, more than 3 hours long. And keeping that energy, staying in character, holding on that for all that time, and keeping the public interested also, because we were not sure really if an Auroville public had not, since 20 years, when they used to do these old Moliere plays maybe, but the Auroville public was not used to such long theater plays. We had an intermission. We were not sure people were going to come back after the intermission. So they did, and we did it 2 or 3 nights also. Not 2 nights.
I think 2 nights.
Yeah. So at that time I was working with Samrat, who was quite fresh out of the ashram also.
And then
Charu, and that was quite something.
Yeah, no, it has to be the love, or really the deeper connection, just to be able to be there and to first to prepare and then also to receive. I mean, you're just also not, you're not trained to receive also so much.
Yeah, and to have also this kind of inner flexibility, I mean, when she plays, for example, this character, Andromeda, which was from Perseus, which was dramatic, a very powerful character. She was, from one side, she was weak and crying, and from the side, she knew what she wanted. And we could find something similar later on Savitri, on this scene where Savitri said, no, this is the man I want to marry.
Once my heart chooses not again, something like that. Yeah.
So it's the same kind of this decision, that is you cannot touch. So this is something that she could hold this, she could maintain that.
Then Eric was the next one we did, and that was, I liked it because we used the stage, we divided the stage in half. And we played on one half of the stage and the audience sat on the other half. And the whole idea was to have a really more intimate connection with the public. And we were actually saying our lines and addressing, and I was doing eye contact with the first 2 rows of the public. That I really appreciated and found really special also. And again, I worked with Martin, who played Eric, who had never done theater before also. And so that was interesting. And God, we had such an he mixed up some lines, and we skipped like 40 minutes of the play, and because there were 2 lines that were very similar, and he mixed them up, and I had my cues, and I knew it was the wrong thing, and I didn't know how to get out of the thing in the loop. And so then I went off stage and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, look, you guys,
we skipped this thing. You're next. All these people had to put on these armors and they were not ready. It was like, oh, then she comes coolly walking backstage. It's like, Aryamani, what do we do? What do we do? And just we went on, but like all the sets were in the wrong place. We had to somehow improvise and.
But nobody noticed.
No, but except the people there were some French people who had brought the play, and I remember out of the corner of my eyes them seeing like turning the pages, like where are they? Where are they?
Wow. This was the first day actually when you were playing.
Yes, the first performance of Eric.
First performance.
Eric, it was the first performance.
In 40 minutes you missed.
Yes, and so then, and I mean,
Not 40 minutes.
20?
It was a full scene.
And then I remember like I didn't sleep that whole night. I kept going through all my lines the full night, and I was like, oh my god, what happens? I mean, it totally freaked me out. And the next day we made a backup plan that Aurelio, who was doing the music, and he's been doing the sound and music for most of our plays, he kept the script with him, and he said if he goes off at the same place, I'll kind of cut in and kind of chant the correct line. And he did go off the next day also.
Wow.
And so Aurelio suddenly started chanting the right line, and that put Martin back on track again. But yeah,
This was a nice experience.
oh my god, I'll never forget. When I watch sometimes the clips, I'm like, oh my god, here it comes.
But the audience would have been...
They didn't notice anything. No.
Only the one that have the French version.
Yes.
So they were following French, so they could
I remember them like, what, where are they now? What happened? So,
that's the beauty, no? I think that's the difference, it's like
this is
the presence we were talking about.
It's what Michael was saying. It was not like a movie.
Exactly. It's not a movie.
That you can
cut and start.
It's just very real, and you just be present to what it is, and then instead of what you want it to be. Yeah. So lovely.
Yeah, that was. And then what? Rodagyun was next. That was also very more demanding. It was very dramatic also, especially the end. I remember that really stayed with me, the end of dying. And
for Charu also.
For Charu, he's
was the
like bad guy.
The one that referred to the organization, how it moved him so much.
Yeah. So that was difficult.
But it is curious because it was one that people felt so bound together, the whole group. It was, I don't know how many actors we had.
But a huge,
people,
at least, yeah.
And they were so...
Yeah, poor Thomas. He was also my leading man, and he had never done theatre before. He had no idea what he was getting into. And he was living in Pondi at the time, so driving down from Pondi several times a week for our rehearsals. I mean, he was wonderful, so committed, and
Michael and Thomas.
Yes. The two brothers were in love with
the plot was around them. The conflict among these two, because they love the same woman.
Yes.
So it was the same.
Now I think when I see the place, it will be in a whole different light.
All the
details.
Yeah, and I mean, for me especially the end. I think when he gets killed, when Antiochus gets killed, and then Rodagyun decides to die. She doesn't want to live with him. So I remember that part really being staying with me, and it was difficult to come out of it afterwards. It was like this heaviness in my being for a while after. And
and you can see some photos, for the end of this play. The photos are very powerful. That you see this drama. They were a part, of them to have these beautiful costumes.
Yeah, they were quite amazing.
Amazing.
Those two ladies.
Wow. They were, the costumes were part of the...
Well, they added so much.
Oh, yeah.
And the sets also. I mean, although generally quite minimalistic, but enough, and they just gave the right. They added the right kind of also presence. I mean, was it from the blocks that Michel and Véronique did for Perseus that were so evocative, or the big pillars that we use? They were quite a presence.
This is a kind of a miracle that you can say. I think I say that in my first interview. When this place for me, where this presence of Sri Aurobindo, that everything we need at the last moment. The last moment. We have an idea, we have someone, we have... Even these two boys, that I didn't know them, they appear by miracle, Michael and Thomas. They were looking, we need these two boys, we need two kind of handsome, strong, these two men that could represent this character, to embody this vision of Sri Aurobindo. So they came. So amazing how they came. Came. So it is incredible. And Jean with the lights, that was also, he was always in tune, he was always looking for. And so it was very, this teamwork, this coming together and trying to make the best that you can. This was it's something that you have in Auroville. Yeah, I think not only with Sri Aurobindo's place. I believe that other situations, other plays, I mean, you have the experience. But I mean that with Sri Aurobindo have this kind of add something.
An added dimension, an added element.
That
Sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, that connection stays, or that contact, whatever you establish during that process of rehearsals and performance, and just if you cross them on the road, then you look at each other and there's something, some shared experience you can relate to. So.